Alright, time to go for the next build here. And this one, gonna be a bit more of a challenge, I guess. Mostly because I'm gonna try to, as they would put it in universe, make a shimmer silk purse out of a bantha's ear. What I'm working on, or at least starting with, is the new Build-N-Play Resistance X-wing from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, it's pre-painted. It's designed to be a really simple pop-together kit with sound effects. And the first thing I want to do is modify the cockpit. What I'll wind up doing is cutting along the sides here and dropping the seat down so that when the cockpit's actually in place, your pilot would be at a normal level rather than sitting almost even with the canopy. Now, there's actually some good detail in these pieces. There are a couple of little flaws, a couple of sinkholes, notably in the bottoms of the wings. Those I'll likely fill. But all in all, there's actually good detail to be had if it's properly exploited. I will be filling the speaker hole. I'm not sure about repainting the BB-8, mostly because I don't know at this point what the other astromechs will look like. Canopy is clear, although I'll probably mask it and repaint. The rest of the ship I'm almost definitely going to repaint just so I can match that blue when I do the undersides of the wings. But we will approach that as we get to it. Alright, our first bit of mod work is done. I cracked open the sound box, basically took the top piece off, and then to lower the seat I actually cut along the sides going all the way through so that I can lower the seat to the appropriate level inside the cockpit, keeping the arms here and here, which have to match up to the main control panel on the upper fuselage piece. The battery hatch that was on the bottom of the sound chip will get glued into place and then seam filled. I am going to fill the landing gear space and then cut landing gear doors in it. We'll show that when we get to it. Alright, so far so good. Been really productive progress today. I have filled the unneeded holes on all the wingtip lasers, as well as cutting them off at this joint here and rotating them to their proper 90-degree orientation. I have filled the front landing gear well with styrene, the speaker holes, and the hole where the battery pack would go in with Bondo, as well as the sink points on the wings. The cockpit is now essentially how I'm going to have it. I may go in, you can see the gap here, there's one on the other side too. I may go in and fill those with styrene. I may see how visible it is first, but that's where we're sitting at the moment. And we are back at it. As you can see, I've glued some strips of styrene into place on either side of the cockpit. The BB-8 has been glued into position as well. I also glued, to fill the gap where the seat back used to be, I've put in a small piece of styrene there. I have I have scribed the door line in the front landing gear, as well as rescribing the panel lines that I accidentally filled in. Went ahead and decided to use the outside edges of the battery door as a guide for new panel lines. The sinkholes in the lower wing have been filled and sanded with the panel lines rescribed. This is actually going pretty quickly. The only thing that's going to bog me down is I'm still waiting on the Aves over there to cure. Alright, using the sprue from a set I actually bought for World War II Spitfire, I have cobbled together a pilot at 1/48 scale for my cockpit. I haven't tried it with the canopy on, but I don't think it's going to be too much problem because his head doesn't come much above the bump there, so it should work out. Obviously he still needs paint, and the cockpit needs to be mounted inside the fuselage. But that's the addition we've made as of right now. Okay, as I've noted before, this thing's moving right along. Of course, the fact this thing started life as a snap-together kit's probably part of why. But what I've done is I've gone in, given all the parts a black wash, and wiped off the excess to bring out the details and to lessen the toy look. The pilot has also gotten a black wash. I've painted the undersides of the wings to match the tops, as well as given them a black wash to bring out the details. Fuselage has gotten the same treatment. The guns, which would be sitting here, are waiting for the latest coat of Dull Coat to dry. Next time we see this, it should be assembled. Okay, after a little dry brushing, a little washing, a little finish work, we're going to call the Resistance X-wing from Episode 7 done. As you can see, given the model overall black wash, wiped off the excess, so I just filled the panels, really picked up the detail under the wings. Pilot's looking good inside the cockpit. I mean, for what's essentially a toy, it's actually fairly well detailed. I went in addition to the black wash, and dry brushed with Vallejo smoke on the engines, the what would be the proton torpedo ports on the old T-65 X-wing, and a little bit on the guns, just to break things up a little. I also did some dry brushing with the Vallejo smoke over the engines, or rather over the tops of the engines, and these little panels, little vents underneath. All in all, I'm not going to claim this is a great model, but it does give you something to work with. I mean, just a little work, and you go from toy to what you're seeing here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stick some stills on the end of this, and thank you all for watching. Now, just a little addendum here. I want to clear up some scale questions about this ship. First off, as I pointed out before, I put a 1/48 scale pilot in that cockpit without a problem. Now, over here is the 1/48 scale Fine Molds X-wing. As you can see, along with the 1/43 AMT, it's right there size-wise. It's slightly smaller. I've seen people calling this thing 1/60th or 1/60th-ish. No, it's a 1/48 scale plane. At least that's my opinion, and there's my backup for it. Back to the stills.